Do you think this is an example of cronyism in Metro government?
Oh, absolutely.
Metro Council members want answers about how the city's fire chief was originally appointed to run the department. What our chief investigator reporter Jeremy Finley has uncovered has fingers once again pointing to the city's embattled former mayor.
Want to get Metro Council members fired up? Show them a list of candidates who'd qualified for consideration for one of the city's highest jobs, and then tell them that list was essentially torched. And the person named to temporarily run the department instead wouldn't have even qualified at the time for the fire chief job.
That is wrong, period.
Does that seem questionable to you?
Of course it's questionable.
A 3-month News 4 I-Team investigation found what happened, starting with this: the recruitment list for chief in 2016 through October 2017. 8 people were deemed qualified, the only ones eligible to be considered for the job. 3 were even determined to be the top candidates. A minimum qualification, a bachelor's degree. One candidate even had a master's degree. Not on the list, William Swan, a veteran of the fire department, the chief of staff to the fire chief. He didn't, though, have a bachelor's degree. If he'd applied, he'd have been rejected. But look what happened instead. On October 27, 2017, all of those 8 candidates got this email from Metro HR saying the eligibility list had suddenly been abolished. No reason given. Then, just 5 days later, a surprise announcement. Chief Ricky White was stepping down after getting a DUI, and an interim director was named, someone who would lead the department for the next 11 months before finally getting the job. Someone not on the eligibility list, William Swan.
He wasn't on the eligible list. He
Right.
wasn't even in the top 3 candidates on the eligible list. But he was still named interim. Why?
I have no idea. I would love to tell you I know the answer. I don't.
Who does know is Shannon Hall, the director of Metro HR. She confirms to the I-Team that the person who directed her to abolish the list, again just 5 days before an interim chief was named, former Mayor Megan Barry. The same person who would issue this news release, reading she'd found someone to fill the chief role and appointed William Swan.
Does it concern you that these candidates were abolished?
It concerns me that we didn't treat them fairly.
There was this list of eligible candidates that was just erased, and then you were appointed to the job. Did you know about any of that?
No, I don't. I don't know any of that.
When Swan refused our repeated requests for a sit-down interview, we tracked him down.
Some council members have said what we found is proof of cronyism in Metro government. Do you want to respond to that at all?
I have no response to that. I mean, bottom line is the questions that you asked us, we sent you. It's all HR questions. So I don't have any comment.
And no comment about the obvious difference between being named interim chief and hired as fire chief. Look how it happened. Swan ran the department while also finishing his bachelor's degree. He got it 2 months after being named interim. Remember that eligibility list that was suddenly abolished? Last year, it was reopened. One applicant was actually disqualified because he didn't have a bachelor's degree. But guess who now was deemed the #1 most qualified candidate? The man who the year before wouldn't have qualified for the job.
And that's the problem. It's not the good old boy club. Apparently, it's just the good old club.
So you may be asking, why did Megan Barry abolish the list just 5 days before the interim chief was named? Well, she denied our request for an interview. We also wanted to ask Mayor Briley, did he know about any of this before he named Swan chief? His spokesman said, no comment. We obviously have a lot of questions, and we'll keep asking them.